welcome back to my channel. This episode I'm going to be talking about what I feel is going on in the collective at the moment and how I'm feeling with it as well, and kind of a little bit about kind of what I'm going through at the moment. Things are different, and obviously things come in waves and everything kind of comes in big spurts, little spurts, just shake things up. And so I just kind of want to talk about it, and hopefully someone can relate and also shed some light maybe on how you're feeling as well. So for some time, maybe probably in the lead up in the past couple of months, the energy's gotten a lot heavier for me. And I know that other people have been feeling the same way, but it's just almost feel like it's closing in. Now I know that there's astrologically a lot of things have happened recently, like we have had Pluto shifts, we've had Saturn shifts. So a lot of you going in your Saturn returns at the moment, which is really fun, good luck. And we do have a full moon coming up in a couple of days time, which I'll talk about that too. But what I really kind of wanted to make notice of is just the general consensus of the energy at the moment. Now, specifically for me, I have just felt like, the roof is like here, and it is closing in on me specifically. And I've been feeling just most uncomfortable in the space around others, and I feel really uncomfortable just being in public settings. And this doesn't mean like whenever I go to the beach or if I'm going for a walk, I'm okay. The gym's like weird, but I'm there doing something for my body. But I felt recently when I go into, say, shopping centers, I just don't feel part of it at all. I just like, oh wow, like I feel very separate. And I almost, the other day I walked through Pacific Fair, which is a shopping center like near my house, and I just try to bring back nostalgia, how I felt when I used to go. I used to love going shopping. Like I do love shopping. But I used to walk to shopping centers. I used to get just such a delight, and now it's just not. But I think, potentially this could be like a phase that I'm going through, or I'm just really like removing the materialistic sort of side of me in that way, because that'll never leave. Another thing I've noticed is that going into places, obviously like cafes. I sometimes do work out of a cafe, and I really do enjoy it. I love being in a different space, and I found a really cute cafe down the road from mine that has cacao, and the girls there are just awesome. I love talking to them, but just looking at other people, I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like, obviously for some time, I know that a lot of us who are awake and conscious know that we don't really belong anywhere, like apart from with each other. But I definitely just, have slowly felt even more separated. I've been going to events recently, and just the energy is just dark. And I'm going to be really blunt, like dark and gloomy. And there's really, but I think a lot of people at the moment, the light's being shone on those who are like that. And they just seem so much more evident to me of the type of people that they are. I can sense energy really quite quickly, almost instantly. I know what type of room I'm going to go into when I walk into it. And I've definitely noticed that recently there's just more darkness. And I do believe that is a good thing for us, because we know who we should be avoiding, who we really shouldn't be spending our time with. But it does really suck though when you have friends that you've gone, oh, like I really kind of believed in you, but the rose-colored glasses just came off, and it just came off like this, just all of a sudden I've like, oh no, that's how I feel about you now. Damn, like it's another one. I do know that, we're going into a really good place. And when it comes to changing of energies and when it comes to shifts, we've been experiencing these for the past 3 years. Like we're so well equipped at it, but sometimes it just gets exhausting. And I notice that the more people that kind of come to light, or maybe my rose-colored glasses come off with certain people, I know that huge shifts are happening, because the general collective is doing it for all of us who are conscious as well, and just kind of really what's not serving us too. This specifically is coinciding well for me with the Libra full moon just happening on the 6th of April. God, we're in April, yeah. Time's being weird. And it's also about reevaluating relationships and looking at where they're balancing for you, because we know Libra is about justice. It is about balance, but it's about how are they serving you. And there's potentially relationships, friendships, even some sort of potential business partnerships that are just maybe like, you look at like, oh wow, this is serving me, and this really isn't. It's just almost like a judgment time. Libras are really about looking at things from a wider perspective, and it's a sign that it's a good sign to encompass when it comes to things like this. It's just like, all right, let's look at this. How is this serving me? What is this doing for me? you know, let's weigh this up and let's look at how the ways that we can actually move forward with it as easily as possible, as best as possible. And that's how I feel, especially I feel like judgment's kind of happening for me specifically, and I feel like it's been presented to me in many different forms and facets of my life. And I know that collectively as well, we're kind of looking at things like, you know, we thought we could really push through with that situation or that job or that person or that way of living, but it's just like the closing in is like, oh no, you've got to make some shifts. I've noticed also specifically within myself, I've lost my appetite. Not mad. Not mad at all. I've just lost my appetite for wanting to eat, you know, the food that I really wanted to. And I do still eat, obviously, because I train and I need just to live, even though breatharian could be kind of cool. But I think being a breatharian, like my friend Rani said, she goes, if you like going out and if you like being around people, being a breatharian just takes away all of that aspect. You become really isolated. Anyway, I was just rambling for a second. Yeah, I just haven't really been wanting to eat recently, which is not like me because I usually really love food. And I usually eat quite healthy as well. I eat like a really good diet and, you know, drink a lot of water, and I'm, you know, apart from a couple of like things, I avoid a lot of things. I've cut a lot of things out of my diet, you know. I've cut, like, I avoid gluten a lot, you know, I avoid sugars a lot. You know, I've cut out like a lot of vegetables. I eat primarily animal based. I don't drink anymore. Oops. You know, I haven't drank coffee in 2 years, so I'm just eliminating all these things out of my diet that are really good for me. But yeah, at the moment I just kind of don't really feel like eating anything. I just want to drink water, maybe sparkling water. That's about it. So yeah, it's funny watching yourself change in certain situations, but I also feel like there's like a burning, there's just a burning feeling in my stomach that's just not wanting me to eat. And I think that's got to do with a lot of energy, because a lot of energy is coming to the surface of myself. And I'm about to go to a theta healing session with a lady down the road from where I live, which is really cool. Like literally like a couple of minute drive. And I've been looking at her pamphlet for months because my boyfriend's brought her pamphlet home for me when he was at the gym, and he goes, oh, I saw this, like I thought you might like it. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is really cool, because he does, like, he'll do things like that, but not that often. So I know it was like something called him to do that, to bring it to me, which is really cool. So I've been sitting on it for a couple of months, and I'm really looking forward to going to this healing session, because it's going to be consisting of some sort of like heart release, and because a lot of emotions, when you go through situations, even from past lives, the heart starts to block itself off from just feeling like at its absolute maximum capacity, and it kind of shuts you off from everything else in the way of maybe putting your heart straight into something. You know, for me, I just haven't really had much heart to go into things, because I can't, and I just haven't really been able to figure out why. But I'm really looking forward to this session, so I'm really hoping that it'll be able to shed some light for me too. I've been to healing sessions before and they've all been really great, but I feel this was brought to me for a specific reason, especially because, you know, my boyfriend brought a pamphlet home and he goes, yeah, I just thought this you might be interested. And I'm like, yes, I am. Some of the things that I have been doing to kind of help the situation, it's all kind of the same shit that we already know, but especially grounding as well. I've been going for a lot of beach walks and just kind of like wanting to be outside. I think outside is what's really calling me at the moment. I'm doing stretches outside near my pool area. There's lots of trees there, you know, like they're kind of just like soaking in all that energy, which is quite nice. And doing lots of journaling. You know, journaling is kind of really calling me at the moment as well. I go through phases with journaling. Sometimes I'll write every day, and sometimes I'll write a few times a week. You know, just whatever really calls to me. But it's more like journaling of just kind of brain dumping or emotion dumping onto the page, which is better to do that than just dump it on everybody else. Which, in saying that, it's good to get advice from your friends. It's also good to go see someone if you do need to. But also, if you're complaining about the same thing all the time, probably just write it in a diary or go see someone about it, because no one really wants to hear the same thing over and over again if you haven't got, you decide to get help over it. Which is why today I've decided, okay, I'm going to go get this theta healing. But another practice that I really, really find that works for me, or even just kind of day to day, is spending a lot of time with my animals. And I feel like, because like animals are so soothing. There's nothing like them. I have 3 dogs, and I just like couldn't live without them, to be honest. I find them some of the most beautiful creatures, but not specifically because they are the animal, because like their souls were meant for me, and I know that, and I have a different character in each of my animals. It's really, really beautiful. you know, when I am feeling a type of way or I am in a certain mood, one of my dogs just kind of knows, and they're just there. They know what to do. And I think if I ever don't feel my most boisterous self, or just if I'm feeling tired or just a little bit feeling like I really want to be isolated, they all understand and they all go, okay, well, we're gonna rock with this. And I think any animal or any person who has a connection with an animal, it could be, I don't know, it could be like a rat, it could be anything, it could be a bird, and the animals are super intuitive, and the way that you've connected with it is your way, and it'll get you. It'll just get you. They're there just to help us. That's why they don't live for as long, because they're so pure. I remember I read that once. I think it was a child that said that, like, oh, animals don't live as long because they don't do anything bad. They don't have to learn anything. They're just pure and leave. And I find that just one of the most beautiful statements. Like, they don't need to live for as long, even though we might want our dog to be 80 years old when we're 80 years old. But they won't have that. I think you just have them for a certain period of time, and then you'll get your next one. I know I was really rambling about animals because I really love them, but no, I have felt that animals are just so good for this time, and for certain people who are conscious and awake, and they may feel like isolated. Being with an animal and being around them is just like, it just almost like you forget everything, and you feel kind of bad that I even feel guilty that I feel like I'm putting them in some sort of, like, if I'm not feeling like the best, that they're taking my energy, which is funny because, like, I'm really empathetic like that, but that's not how it works. I definitely feel like I've been rambling this episode, but that's just kind of what it is. It's where we're at. I'm just rambling, and, you know, I think it's important for a lot of us to be authentic with each other and just kind of seem a little bit more relatable. Sometimes online things just seem so perfect, and I know that, like, I curate so much for my social media to look nice, and a lot of it is really, really authentic, and I make it look nice because I like it when it looks nice. But I think it's also really important to, like, maintain authenticity, especially when you're talking to people online, where you're connecting with people, just because you don't know who is maybe going through the same thing, who may be able to get some pointers from you, and vice versa too. So, you know, if you have been feeling a type of way and you feel like the world is really heavy and uncomfortable at the moment, and shifting of energies and whatnot, just please feel free to comment. Like, also, like, what are your remedies? You know, what are you guys doing to help yourself go through situations, and what are you feeling as well, obviously, if you're open to share. But yeah, that concludes this episode. I'll speak to you guys next time. I'm also going to be posting a video about the full moon in Libra a little bit more in detail. It's got some other planetary aspects it's making, which is really, really cool as well. So it's actually not all doom and gloom. Let's, like, evaluate our relationships. It's just like, oh, okay, like, we've got some fun stuff too. So tune into that, and I'll see you guys soon.